I truly believe that the times that we are navigating right now are calling forth a new type of warriorship. And that's not necessarily, the regular understanding of warriorship where you go on the battlefield and you fight with your hands and weapons and guns and stuff like that, even though there may be some situation where that would be appropriate. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what I would like to call vibrational warriorship, emotional warriorship, even mental, spiritual warriorship. I truly feel like there is that natural evolution that is happening at the moment where the vibrational warrior inside of us is invited to actually take a higher space at the table of who we are. If you're new here, my name is Xavier Dagba, and the whole purpose of this space is to spark conversations that ignite self-liberation. So where am I coming from with this whole vibrational warriorship thing? If you've paid attention to the collective environment lately, over the last few weeks, over the last few months, there's been an amplification of fear. And, if you've been tuned into some of the news out there, they are throwing out some ideas of potential new lockdowns and restrictions and inhibitions and things like that. And what that does to, you know, regular, day-to-day human beings like you and I, it's when we are not aware, it can throw us into knee-jerk reactions. And some of these knee-jerk reactions panic, include, spiraling in fear and anxiety. And for some other people, it can be completely on the other side, numbness, shutting down. And that for a certain degree I want to talk about. Because very often what people do is instead of like allowing themselves to go into the panic mode and the knee-jerk reaction mode in the kind of like anxiety mode, many people actually feel like, dissociating to a certain degree is like a better outcome. And I've seen that a lot. I've seen more and more people take the route of like numbness, which in my opinion is emotional dissociation. So many people choose to numb. So many people choose to kind of like cut off their the things that cause them quite a bit of anxiety. And I definitely understand where that is coming from. But I really think that that is also a beautiful bait, a bait that we get to transcend at the moment. Because it may feel like temporary relief to actually numb, to emotionally dissociate, to tap out from what you are fearing and to disconnect from the collective body of humanity and even your own. It may feel like, okay, that is a safer outcome for you. But it doesn't really anchor the new kind of like frequency, the new kind of, I want to say paradigm that will actually serve the more expanded, evolved humanity that I hope you and I are aspiring for. Where am I going with that? There is a necessity at the moment, embrace what I'd like to call some sort of heart-centered warriorship. And it is showing up in a new way. As I've said at the beginning, it's no longer warriorship in the sense of like going on the battlefield and, battling with your fists. It is a new kind of frequency warriorship. It is your capacity to actually uphold, to remain deeply intimate with what is going on around you, to remain deeply intimate, because that's actually very necessary. Deeply intimate with what is going on, and at the same time, to be able to choose purposefully the frequency that you would like to live in. As you're witnessing the amplification of fear, as you're witnessing the amplification of anxiety, instead of tapping out, instead of like, moving out of your body, which is what numbness does to a certain degree. It gets you to be disconnected from your emotional body. It basically gets you to leave home to a certain degree. There's a conscious choice, which is, I am going to be here. which is I'm going to face and feel these two things, face and feel everything that is coming up in my body as a response to what the collective is displaying. And that is the first step of that vibrational warriorship, which is I'm going to stay tuned in and anchored and connected in my body and feel everything that is coming up as a response to what the collective is emanating. And that is your first quote unquote battlefield, but it's not even a battlefield. It is just your home. Your emotional body is also your home. And as you allow yourself to be in the full presence of what is coming up in response to what the collective is displaying, either the amplification of anxiety and fear and all these potentials that you don't want to see happen that are thrown at you, that is your first reclamation. That is the first stand that the warrior inside of you is taking. And then the next invitation is now. How am I using my energy in this now moment? Which is, am I first using my energy to bathe, to take a bath of self-compassion and kindness with myself, and even also beyond even kindness with yourself, respect for yourself? Instead of beating yourself up, are you taking that stand? And the other thing is, to ask yourself the question, am I contributing to the fear through my response, or am I being a bridge for a new and evolved paradigm? And here's a perspective that is deeply core within me. When you witness a potential that you do not like that much, and you run away from it out of fear, or actually you become somebody that just like, look at the other thing that we need to be afraid of, you are feeding that potential energetically. When you spiral in panic with that energy of, look at the other thing that we get to be afraid of, you are feeding precisely that potential. And when you are getting other people to actually join you in the panic, you are feeding that potential even more. Precisely what you don't like to see happen. But there's something really powerful when you make that choice, inner choice. And there's that moment of choice where you suspend the inner urges to dive into either numbness or panic. What happens is you give to yourself back the power of choice and the power of vibrational choice. Meaning, how would I rather feel in response to this? How would I rather feel? What do I choose to anchor? What is the reality that I choose to experience in this now moment, even though I am witnessing this kind of like paranoia right now? What reality do I choose to embody? Reality do I choose to live in? It's like vibrationally choosing what do you want. And there is something that is so important there because you know what? It is so easy, in my opinion, to become cynical. It is so easy to be a skeptic. It is so easy to, I don't even want to use the word faith, but it's so easy to become hopeless. It is actually a safe place for so many people. But it takes to actually be a vibrational warrior, not to take the bait. Cynicism, hopelessness, skepticism, numbness. It takes to have at the core of you this kind of like warrior spirit saying that whatever is happening at the level of the collective right now is not going to cause me to shut down my heart. It takes to be some sort of spiritual warrior when you are witnessing a lot of like upheaval, to choose to remain connected to your joy, to choose to, of course, feel everything that comes up within you as it emerges. If you have your own fears, that whatever you're observing on the collective is bringing up inside of you, your own fearful self needs to be met with a renewed quality of compassion. That is also part of vibrational warriorship. And when you are able to do that, you illuminate the places within yourself where darkness used to reside. And by darkness, I mean the lack of your own light or the lack of your own love. And the more you are able to do that, the less fear has the ability to latch onto you. The more you have a renewed relationship with fear itself, where it no longer has the capacity to shut down your heart. And in my opinion, that is really what it takes in the world of today to be a vibrational warrior, an emotional warrior, a spiritual warrior. And in my opinion, that is the best legacy you can have, not only for yourself, but for the collective this time. So I'm inviting you not to take the bait, numbness, or cynicism, or skepticism of hopelessness. And the more you are able to do that, as you also choose to be fully in your body and to feel everything that comes up in the best of your ability, and to make the most empowered, paradigm shifting choice you can possibly tap into in every now moment, and to make the choice not to live in fear, the more you are a supportive presence for this collective. And if you have a hard time navigating fear, and I'm inviting you to take my free shadow integration mini course. I'll leave the link there. It is completely free. It may help you in meeting your own, fears and your own darkened parts, so that you can have the capacity to lead your life more heart centered in every now moment. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for listening to this. If this resonates with you, please share it with anyone who needs it. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.